Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Today we will be looking at a watch from one of my most favorite micro brands out there, and I've featured them on the channel before. We have the Contrail GMT from Nodus. Now, I've previously criticized Nodus for being a little too expensive because they gave us Seiko NH35 powered watches for around the £500 to £600 mark, which is excessive, even though their finishing and overall quality is exceptionally high end. But they have added so much more specification with this release, and the retail price of $825 or £650 may be justified with this Contrail GMT. So let's have a look at the specifications we have. We've got a box sapphire crystal with AR coating, a loomed sapphire bezel insert fitted onto a 48-click bidirectional GMT bezel. We also get a total of 4 different colors: the Polaris, Impulse, Laguna, and the one in hand I have, which is called the Terra, which all feature accented text and GMT hands, as well as color matched roulette style date wheels at 6 o'clock. The watch comes with 200 meters of water resistance, featuring a high-end Vuitton gasket. The bracelet is a screwed in 3-link design with quick release spring bars and features their proprietary Node X on the fly adjustable clasp. Now the movement, this is the premium Miyota 9075, which is a true Aura Traveler GMT movement with a beat rate of 28,800 vibrations per hour and a stated accuracy of around 8 seconds a day, give or take, but which is regulated by Nodus. Now, unlike the Seiko NH34, this is what people refer to as the true GMT, as it allows you to independently set the hour hand or jump hours into the correct time zone, and it's a lot more expensive than the usual Caller GMTs due to the mechanism. Now, with all the above specifications, I think the price point of £650 or $825 makes this watch a very competitively priced watch amongst its peers. Now, not only are the specifications great, the dimensions are also near perfect for a variety of wrist sizes and tastes. The diameter is 40.5 millimeters and is just 11.7 millimeters thick, which is incredible for a GMT watch. And it also has a compact lug-to-lug of 46.5 millimeters, which does extend to just under 52 millimeters due to the male end links, which fit into a 20 millimeter lug width, and the bracelet does taper down to 16 millimeters. Now, just by the specifications and dimensions alone on paper, this would make this watch extremely desirable. But when you combine that with the design and aesthetics on offer, I would say it's a perfect all-in-one traveling watch. Now, I think the design is extremely well thought out, and it should have a much wider appeal due to the way it's been made. It ticks boxes for all those that like dive watches, GMT watches. It's a really well finished, dressed up tool watch. And I've had this watch for over a few months, and every time I've put it on, it's been so difficult to take off. There's just so many aspects that Nodus have paid attention to, which I will take you through, which makes it such a complete watch for me. The dial has a great balance of practicality mixed with high-end refinement. You see a textured dial which itself has very low reflection, and combined with the AR coating on the sapphire, you always get a very crisp visual which allows you to see the more refined features and details. Now, this of course does vary depending on the colorway you go for. For example, the Impulse colorway is a blue sunray, and that will react much differently to the light. But for things which are the same, the hour markers for example, they have these crisp polished surrounds to the bullet shaped markers, and the tips are beveled into a point. The logo and the text are all printed, and they're very crisp considering they have been printed on a textured dial. There's also an outer printed minute track and a 24-hour chapter ring which line up perfectly with the hour markers and the bezel, which as we see is no ordinary feat. Then we have the handset. You guys know I love to see so much micro detailing. It's the smaller details which justify the cost on most things for me. Now, the handset features polished bevel edges along a tapered design with linear brushing in the center, where you'll also find the applied lume. Now, they've gone to the trouble of using an end cap on the second hand, something which you rarely see on many other micro brands. Now, the top cap is also brushed and beveled, again, which is a level of detail you rarely see on a watch at this price point. Now, the lume used is Swiss BGW9, and as you can see, it's very bright, featuring the loomed sapphire bezel insert with loomed bezel numbers. Now, the bottom half is also fully loomed, and there is plenty of lume as well. The hour markers and hands all stand out brilliantly. Now, moving on to the bezel itself, there is so much detail into the grip of that bezel. There's a thin polished edge along the top and faceted along the side. You've also got brushing along the flat surfaces and polishing in the bevels. There's so many small details which really let you know the extent a watch brand has gone to. Now the rotation itself is bidirectional with 48 clicks. And it has subtle but firm clicks. It's not too audible, but it does hold a fair bit of resistance. Now, it's not one of those that you can be used as a fidget toy, and the detailed machining on the grip does mean that it takes a bit of force to turn. Now, with all the refined details present on the dial and bezel, of course, you'd expect the same from the case. You've got fine satin brushing along the tips of the lugs and the sides of the case, which is broken up by large polished bevels along the sides. Needless to say, the transition lines are extremely fine and crisp. The case does not have a single edge in sight. Even the bottom of the case has been beveled and polished to give you a perfectly smooth feeling case. Now the crown cards hold a knurled crown, bringing back some of that tool watch DNA. It's just under 6mm, which would make it somewhat small, but the knurling definitely helps with the grip which was needed. The function is perfect and very smooth. You also get a Nodus logo on the side with the edges polished and smoothed out. Now you can tell that every aspect of the watch has been so well thought out. The case back features the Contrail logo, polished with a bead blasted background. All the edges are smoothed off, and so many times you do find case backs which do have unfinished edges, but not here. So now we can move on to the bracelet. It's a 3-link design, solid male end links which fit perfectly into the lugs. You also have screw-in pins which are very smooth, and the bracelet is finished with full linear brushing. Now the links are superb. They are double articulating links, which means they can be completely folded over, and you also have the presence of half links. And they've also used quick release spring bars, which means you can take it off bracelet and put it on another strap. Now the cherry on the cake has to be the proprietary Nodus on the fly adjustable clasp. You've got polished integrated pushers onto the outer shell, which also has a brushed raised center with the logo, and on the underside you can see the Nodus mechanism. Now the mechanism itself is spring loaded to make the adjustment process silky smooth. Now a note on the finishing: the top side on the bracelet, you will notice that links have been beveled and polished. Now in line with the rest of the case, I feel they should also have beveled the underside of the links. It doesn't make sense to do so much and then take a seat back at this point. I think it definitely needed bevels on either side of those links, and if they had done that, the watch would have definitely been a 10-10. Now on wrist, the watch is a beast. It's a refined beast in a tuxedo. The size is perfect on my 6.5-inch wrist, and it will be perfect on so many other wrist sizes too. It's completely balanced and it wears so thin, giving a low profile on wrist. The male end links here are of zero concern because the lug to lug is so compact and the case has plenty of downturn. You can actually see the first and the second links both touch the sides of my wrist, so there really is no need for female end links on this watch. It's very well proportioned and it feels very premium against your skin. You can feel the beveled underside of the case, and you can also feel the bracelet links which are not beveled on the other side. Literally, they just missed that small part. Even if they had increased the price by another $50, it would have been worth it in my opinion. But it still stands that this is one of the most refined, well thought out and well designed tool watches out there. But what do you guys think? Let me know below. And that's it from me today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.